Hi, my friends. Today I want to present you a new story. Enjoy watching it.
It started with a glass of water. I'd wandered into the living room to escape the stale kitchen air, hoping Peyton wouldn't notice me slipping past her piles of clothes and half-finished job applications. But of course she did. Peyton always noticed when I breathed wrong. "Lillian," she snapped, her voice sharp enough to slice skin. "Did you touch my folder?" I turned, clutching my glass tighter. "What folder? I haven't been in your room." She stormed closer, her eyes glinting with that heat I knew too well, the one that meant my body would bear the brunt of her disappointments. "Don't lie to me. I saw you hovering by my door this morning." She grabbed my wrist, squeezing until my bones felt like twigs about to snap. "I was getting the vacuum," I said, voice cracking. "Ask Mom." Before I could finish, her free hand shot forward. A shove, a searing elbow to my side. I heard more than felt, the sickening pop. My ribs surrendered under her rage. The glass fell and shattered, its shards glittering across the carpet like tiny knives. "Peyton," I gasped, clutching my side. "Stop, my hand." "Stop crying," she hissed, her breath hot in my ear. "You always make a scene." I stumbled backward, my left hand crushed between us. Pain screamed up my arm as I hit the armchair and collapsed. I wanted to scream for help, so I did. "Mom," I croaked. She broke something. From the hallway, our mother appeared like a phantom, arms crossed, her face blank as ever. She didn't look at my bruised wrist or the tears streaking my cheek. "For God's sake, Lillian," she said, voice dripping with exhaustion. "Don't start your drama. You'll ruin Peyton's chances tomorrow. You want her to lose that interview, do you?" Peyton's lip curled into a smirk behind her. My mother didn't wait for an answer. She turned away, humming as she retreated to the kitchen. I stayed on the floor, ribs screaming with each shallow breath, shattered glass under my palm. The silence felt thicker than blood. For the first time, I realized it wasn't just my bone that had cracked. It was every last illusion that they'd ever protect me. The pain was like a constant knock at my bones, reminding me every time I shifted on the mattress that Peyton's fury lived under my skin now. I lay staring at the ceiling, my breaths short and careful, listening to her muffled laughter through the wall. She'd come home from a coffee run like nothing happened. She'd tossed a bag of pastries on the kitchen counter, bought with my card of course, and giggled to Mom about her big interview. I forced myself to sit up, cradling my swollen hand. The bruises on my rib were already blooming in shades of purple and blue. I touched the edge of my phone on the nightstand, the cracked screen cold under my fingertips. I remembered the first time she'd hit me. I was 10. She'd called it an accident then too. Mom had told me to stop riling her up. 20 years later, here I was, still apologizing with my silence. "Not tonight." I pressed record. My voice trembled as I spoke into the speaker. "This is Lillian. Peyton broke my rib and my hand. Mom told me not to call the cops because it would ruin Peyton's life." I inched off the bed, wincing as pain pulsed through my side. I locked my bedroom door, the only lock they hadn't broken yet. Then I did what terrified them most. I looked for proof. Old bank transfers where my paycheck disappeared into family groceries that somehow turned into Peyton's spa days. Screenshots of her borrowing my credit card, never repaid. The voice memo of Mom's careless command. "Don't ruin her life, Lillian. Don't be dramatic." A quiet knock startled me. Peyton's syrupy voice dripped through the door. "Lil, you're not still sulking, are you? You bruise like a peach, you know that?" She giggled, rattling the doorknob. "Go away, Peyton," I croaked. She laughed. "Suit yourself. Try not to mess up tomorrow. I don't need your drama." When her footsteps faded, I backed up my files, cloud storage, an email to myself, and another to my cousin Mark. My heart thudded harder than my cracked rib did. I knew I couldn't fight them with fists, but secrets, lies, those were their foundation, and I was about to take a sledgehammer to every single one. Tomorrow, Peyton would walk into that interview with her polished resume and her perfect hair, and not a clue that I'd built the first crack in her crown. The morning of Peyton's big interview, the house smelled like burnt toast and stale hairspray. She flitted around the kitchen in her pressed blazer, flicking crumbs off the counter I'd cleaned the night before, the counter she'd smeared with insults for years. I sat at the table, cradling my aching hand in my lap, my bruised rib bandaged tight under my hoodie. I stirred my coffee in circles, pretending I couldn't feel the USB drive in my pocket like a ticking bomb. "Lillian," Peyton cooed, brushing imaginary lint from her sleeve. "Try not to make a scene today, yeah? This is my shot. Our shot, really. When I get this job, maybe I'll finally be able to pay Mom back for everything." I bit my tongue so hard I tasted blood. Our shot. She always said our when she meant hers. Mom hovered behind her, arms crossed like a prison guard. "You'd better not mess this up for her," she hissed at me, just low enough for Peyton to miss. "After everything we've done for you." I looked at Mom, really looked at her. For the first time, her scowl didn't bury me in guilt. It just made me tired. Peyton blew me a kiss at the door. "Wish me luck, sis," tried to smile for once. The moment her car pulled out of the driveway, I limped to my laptop. My ribs flared in pain, but I ignored it. I opened my email, attached the folder. Photos of my bruised side, my broken hand, bank statements, Mom's voice telling me not to ruin Peyton's future. I found the HR contact for Peyton's dream company. I found her old college registrar too. I hovered over send. My hand trembled, not from fear this time, but from a strange electric relief. I clicked. The files shot out into the world like arrows. No turning back. Hours passed like ghosts. When the front door slammed open, I knew. Peyton's heels clicked on the tiles, her voice sharp enough to slice the silence. "Who did this?" she shrieked. "Who sent them that garbage?" I stood by the hallway, my arms folded over my ribs. "You always said the truth would ruin you, Peyton. Guess you were right." Mom looked at me like I'd spat in her face. "You ungrateful child. You'll regret this." But I didn't feel small. I felt weightless. Because Peyton's golden crown was cracking, and this time I wasn't the one who'd bleed for it. I hadn't slept in 2 days. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw Peyton's face twisted in rage when she found out the truth had finally clawed its way out of my mouth and into her perfect life. But I wasn't done yet. Mark, my cousin, called late that night. His voice crackled through the speaker, urgent and shaking. "Lil, listen. You know the house? Grandpa never trusted your mom. He put it in your name through a trust. She buried the paperwork. She's been lying for years." I sank to the floor, the bruise under my ribs flaring as my heart tried to catch up. My name, my house, the place I'd been made to feel like a squatter in since I was a kid. Mine all along. Peyton banged on my door the next morning, fresh fury gleaming in her eyes. "You think you've won," she hissed. "You're just jealous. You always were. You'll come crawling back, you always do." I almost laughed. My hand was still bound, the skin yellowing around the edges, but inside I felt stronger than I ever had. I waited until Mom was settled in the living room, half watching daytime TV, half spitting venom about how I'd ruined everything. I laid a document found in her desk drawer on the coffee table, the legal letter folded on top. "What's this?" Mom snapped, flipping through the pages with the same dismissive flick she used on me all my life, until she saw my name. Her face drained of color. "You can't do this," she stammered. "This house is our home." I stepped closer, breathing through the ache in my ribs. "No, Mom. It's mine. It always was. Grandpa left it for me because he knew you'd bleed me dry if he didn't." Peyton's scream came from behind me. She lunged, fists first, just like always. This time I didn't cower. I stepped back, phone already in hand. "Hit me again, Peyton," I said, calm as the storm I'd become. "One more bruise. One more proof. The police are already on their way." Mom grabbed Peyton's arm, but not to protect me, to protect her golden child from handcuffs. I watched the truth split their paper-thin loyalty like wet tissue. For the first time, they were the ones looking cornered, voices cracking, eyes darting. The house I'd scrubbed, the walls I'd patched for them, now my fortress. The police arrived minutes later. Peyton snarled as they led her away. Mom sobbed that I was destroying everything. But as the door closed behind them, I realized something. No, I was saving what little was left of me. When the last box thudded onto the porch, Mom turned to me, her eyes wild with disbelief and betrayal. She clutched a half-filled grocery bag like it could anchor her to this place that had never truly been hers. "Lillian, please, where will we go? You can't just throw us out like this. We're family. Family." That word used to break me. Now it just felt like dust in my mouth. I stood a little taller, feeling every quiet moment of pain that had led me here. "I didn't throw you out," I said evenly, my voice steady in a way it had never been around them. "You did that yourselves the day you chose to protect Peyton instead of me. Every single time." Peyton stood behind her, arms crossed tight over her chest, like a barricade she didn't really believe in. Her eyes were red from the rage she refused to swallow. "You'll regret this, Lillian. You think you're better than us? You think you don't need us?" I almost laughed, but it came out softer than that. "No, Peyton. I needed you to stop hurting me. I needed you to be better, but you couldn't. Now, I don't need you at all." When the door finally clicked shut behind them, the silence rushed in like a warm tide. For a long moment, I just stood in the hallway. Bare floors, cracked paint, shadows of all the memories I'd once clung to. I let the emptiness wrap around me like a blanket. I tore down their old photos one by one. I painted the walls fresh, scrubbed away the greasy fingerprints and the slammed door dents. I turned Peyton's old room into my art studio. The dream Mom always mocked. The dream she swore would never pay a bill. When I accepted my deferred scholarship, I wore Grandma's necklace, the one Mom said Peyton would wear more. I whispered, "This is for every time they told me to stay quiet." On graduation day, no one from my old life sat in the crowd pretending to love me. But when I stepped onto that stage, the applause felt honest. This was my ending, or maybe finally my beginning.
Friends, what do you think of this story? Write your opinion in the comments. Would you like more stories? Don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell button so you don't miss any videos. See you tomorrow.